Okay, so welcome to Lithuania, to Vilnius. It's much better with the COVID, but we have the war, so you know it's one crisis changing another crisis. But I'm happy that you are here, and I will present a bit just as a reminder the program. Also, we try to be as much sustainable as it's possible. So we'll have some paper, only a few paper pages of paper, but also those things I don't know how it's in English, but it's used for another project and it's left. So we decided to use this one. And instead of plastic pens, you have the pencils. So please share. There won't be a printed program. You have the program in your email. If not, please ask the coordinators from your country to share the program. I will just present it here and just as a reminder. So we met yesterday for the dinner. In most cases, all the dishes in this place is vegan. So, of course, during the program, we will eat not only vegan dishes. Unfortunately, there's not so many places where it's possible to choose only vegan food. But so today, it's mostly connected with the project itself. So we will start with some ideas or some information from each organization, what you did in the field of dissemination of the project. So I hope that you can, there is no need of any presentation, just maybe you can share what you have done in those months. Then we will have discussion with local NGOs. So we have invited two representatives from different NGOs. One is one of the main NGO in Lithuania. It's like a coalition, and it's so in this coalition there is many environmental NGOs as members, and they are coordinating their actions. Then we will have representative from the youth. Just not to talk, just to see another side of activism. Then Carla and Italian team is responsible for interviews. So we will have the interviews, but also we will have the coffee break at the moment. So one person can give an interview, another can take a coffee. And during this time, also we'll have a separate discussion with the project coordinators from each organization in order to agree on the next steps of the project and the last months actually, because it's going to the end. So what's next? Then we will get the tour here. But before telling about the tour, I would like to say, please be careful that there's some rules here. Usually, it's not allowed to take any food here, but you know, we have an exception. So I would like to ask, when we'll have the coffee break, please don't bring the coffee next to the chair. It must be clean as it was before, okay? So we will be standing, sorry for that, but we will be standing in order not to make a mess, you know, or spots on the chairs, because we are responsible for this. So it's also about the coffee break. You will have trade fair coffee with local some you know bakeries from very small but very I would say famous bakery. It's very small but it's a very good one. And yeah, so and you also you will find the cups on this table. Almost all of them are different because we just bring it from our home, not to buy anything, because we don't need to buy. We have so much cups around us. So please use the same cup all the time because you know they're different. It's not so hard to remember which cup is yours. So the main rule, yeah, that the coffee we must drink standing, and also when we are eating, just to be standing, not just sit on the chairs, and not to go around the room. Okay, so it's a main rule. And then, so when I'm coming back to the this small tour here, we will have the guide. Somebody of you already met her. So she will present protected areas of Lithuania. We have different protected areas, and will explain how the climate communication is inside the work, what they do when they are talking with the public, with the pupils, or any other visitors. So then we'll have the lunch break, and in a minute after the presentation of the program, I will show you the menu of the lunch, and we'll have to choose now. You will decide what you will eat because they are not expecting usually the regular, you know, visitors coming to this place. But because it's quite a huge group, they would like to know what we are going to eat in advance. The main thing is not only to choose, but to remember what you have chosen. Because, you know, after they will say who's taking this, and we need to remember what we ordered. Unfortunately, after the coffee break, there was a plan to go to the bank, which actually established a new app for counting the CO2 footprint, and also it made a huge campaign on the climate issues with famous singers and also celebrities. And so, but they have refused to meet us because of the war in Ukraine. I don't know how it's connected, but somehow it is. So we'll have a bit more time for lunch, which is good. You will not have to hurry and to eat everything very fast. And after we'll have a tour in the old town. So I will be a tour guide. And also, so after the lunch, I just need to know how much of you would like to go with me, because maybe somebody of you already know Vilnius so good that you know you would like to visit some other places. And I know that it's a case. There is some participants here who knows everything very well. Who not? So then we can go together. It will take about 1.5 hours, 2 hours just to walk in the city. I will show some of the most famous places, but there is a lot of them you can discover also by yourself during the night if you will not be sleeping. So okay, so for this day is that's it. Thursday. So the bus will pick up you near the hotels, and the responsible person for all the day will be Vida. Because I need to work at this day, so we have lots of negotiations in the parliament. So Vida will be responsible for the day and will follow and will show you everything. So the bus will pick up near the hotels at what time?
Amberton at 9 o'clock and Artis, yeah, 9:10.
So it means that you don't have time to be
In
late.
front, yeah.
So it's 9 in Amberton, yeah? And in Artis, it's 9:10. If somebody in the first hotel will be late, sorry, but the bus will leave. So be on time, please, because it's quite important to depart on time. Because this day it will be quite tough. The bus will be moving from one place to another and bringing you to the points. So first of all, you will go to the company, which is ENP Recycling. I will not tell about this company right now. You will see on the place what they are doing. There will be a tour inside the company. So after this, after this, you will go for the lunch. Royal kibinai. It's a traditional food from Karims. Karims were invited in 16th century. It's somehow in 16th or 15th century to Lithuania in Trakai, just to build a castle and to help the Grand Dukes. So also, of course, they brought their traditions and the food. So now the community is very, very small. I don't remember the exact number, but it's like 50 or something persons still connected with this community. But you will try this. You can try this in this. And then it will be educational trip. So with the scientist, it will be very interesting. But please, 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 think about the shoes because you will be in the nature. Think about the coats and everything, because it's getting a bit colder in those days. So yesterday it was the warmest day in this week, and now it's getting a bit colder. And also outside the city, it's even more colder because there's no heating systems, and so it's not affecting the environment so much. And please think how you will dress, what you take, okay? Because then it won't be possible just to turn alone and go to the bus, because I'm not sure if you'll find the way. Okay, so it will be this tour, and that's all for this day. So the bus will bring you back to the hotels. Friday. So Friday we will start in the Ministry of Environment, and please also don't be late here because we need to get in. So, and take the documents with you. It can be asked just to show the identity document to know that it's really you who are entering the building. So we'll have a short seminar with the chief specialist for the communication. And then I have asked the Ministry of Environment just to present what kind of campaigns they are running, what was successful, what was not. Maybe we can also share, you can share some ideas, what can be implemented also on the project. And then we will move to Ministry of Agriculture, because I think it's also very important in terms of the climate issues. And also we will have quite similar activities in Ministry of Agriculture. And then we will go to for the lunch in very specific place. We really wanted to invite to this place, and just that you will see. It's established by activists. It's very interesting. Just we will eat lunch here. We will have some activities connected with our project. So I will make a presentation a bit about how to work with the communities, so on different kinds of communities. Then we will have meeting evaluation and certification, and only after, because the person who works in this place is free only from 3:30. They will make a tour in this place and will explain how it's operating and what they're doing. And that's actually all the program here. Is there any questions on the program? So the technical issues which I need to know at the moment is for expenses, because on Thursday we'll go with the bus, we'll have the tour and its costs. So we would like to know, is there any need of invoices for organizations? Is there any? Because we were thinking that we will pay everything, and then we will write the invoice to organization if it's needed, in order to simplify the process. Because if the bus needs to divide the invoices and to write different invoices, it will be very complicated.
I don't know. Maybe I will have a suggestion. Divide all costs which are common, not by partner, but by participants. Because we are more from Poland, from Italy, people, from Spain, free. So divide each cost which is common that we have to pay by participants.
Good.
Okay.
Good. So what I will need actually from you, it's your details for the invoice. It will be possible just to send this evening, because the total price of tomorrow we will know only in the end of the day. We rented the bus, but it depends how much kilometers he will make.
It will walk or go. So let's walk people.
So, and we will know the total price only in the end of the day, when the bus, came back from the trip. So we will pay everything, and we'll make invoices, and it will be good that we'll have your contact details, that we can prepare it for the Friday and give it to you. Also, there is a possibility that you will transfer the money, or you just pay in cash. It doesn't matter, but it's your decision. Okay. So I will show you then the menu. Okay.
Martina, and for the guided tour, how much the way needs to pay you?
It's in the program already. It was written. I don't remember the total amount. We need to check in the program. But it's just 1 minute.
I asked how much do we need to pay you as advance?
No, for me, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
This is not understood.
Yeah, but this was per organization, so we will give the invoices just according to the participants.
So the best things are for free.
Yes. I don't think that it's the best. We will see. But
You are the best. Tama.
okay. So how to? Do you see the menu or not?
La mia cascata. Fai una foto? Hai fatto una foto? Bravo. We pick a picture.
Only sweet.
No, you are kidding.
Senti, mi sei
Ora potrei farci, penso sia chiaro.
Bet čia, žinokit, tikrai saldus patiekalai.
Sì.
Nemačiau. Jūs man tik vieną atsiuntėte. Just 1 minute, there is some sweet things and. Okay, I will go to the. Kuris mūsų? Kuris mūsų?
Visi trys ten yra. Vienoj kavinėj visi trys brendai.
Aš nematau čia iš viso, kur yra meniu. Kur jūs matote čia meniu? Just 1 minute, we need to find the burgers here. Bet čia nėra nieko neįeisi. Okay, I think we will choose at the place because there's no menu. So there is a burgers, souvlaki, if you know what is it. So if you were in Greece, for example, of course you know. And lots of sweet things which were on the screen, but yeah, it's not only sweet. Okay, so we'll check the plate. Okay, so yes, we will move. It's quite close.
I have a question for Friday.
Yeah.
We will walk through the city. It's all about shoes.
On Friday, no, because it's quite. This place is quite close where we are now.
Okay.
So probably we'll take a bus. Probably, I'm not sure. But it's better than just also than to take a comfortable shoes. I don't know when we'll finish in the agriculture ministry. If it will be a bit late, then we'll take a bus or a trolley bus. But if not, so we can walk. Okay, because it's very close to this place. So Carla, on the communication.
Okay. But about
Dissemination.
dissemination,
Yeah,
okay.
dissemination.
Could you start from you or start me? Or it's the same.
Maybe you.
Okay.
Do you have the presentation?
No.
Okay, good. Me neither.
But you,
Mine neither. I don't know. I don't have it.
okay. I hope. Yes. Do you have the drive, the Google Drive about the project that I can use yours or?
It's very interesting because when you open here, you see only here.
Okay.
So, so it's possible to do it.
Yes, because
But it's
in the
not.
private.
It's not connected with my.
I need because you have the access of the shared drive. So
Yeah, but we also have.
password. So I take my.
Okay, we
Oh,
can.
you remember yours? Okay, it's the same. Because every password updated, so.
I don't know about the connection.
Yes, it is.
Is this one?
So. Yes. He said that I'm live, but really I am blind, so I don't know why. Because yes, I'm here. This people here. Okay, now. Okay, maybe it's on delay. Sometimes go out. No, it's not this. But the cup is on for marriage. I think it's not a good moment because there are a lot of things to do, but I think it's not a good moment to. So. Okay.
Yeah, but we done
Yes. So I would like only to make something to say something about the dissemination. It's very quick. Each partner in this project have to do a local activities or web activity to promote this project. So each partner in the project period could post or make article in the Click on T web page or website and talk about the topic about climate change. So there is a specific file called the dissemination reporting and the name of the partner. In this case is dissemination reporting Fondazione Toscana Sostenibile, and there is a list of action we have done. So now, because during each meeting, we have talked about what we are doing, and so I think the best is only talk about not the past, but the future. We only March and April, because at the end of April, the project ended. So for Fondazione Toscana, there is the list of article and post and the local action. And in the month of March, we have arranged local activities in the public library called M'illumino di meno. Is M'illumino di meno is I don't know, Sergio, help me.
Broadcast program.
It's a broadcast program for the second national channel. Yes, Radio 2 is the national channel. And every year we switch off the light for
1 hour.
1 hour. And in this case, Click on T is present in the broadcast radio. And in the public library, we take a gadget, we give gadget to visitors, and Simone, our vice director, presents the Click on T project. So some of you know the director of the library is Antonella Strozzalupi. Martinas and Silvia met her in the past. And we arrange a Bablio Orto, is Bablio Garden, I think, with the plants in the library. You can see in the picture. And we give the pencil with the seams.
Seeds.
Okay, seeds to aromatic plants. So so this is the local activities. Participate 100 person, because is there is a gallery about the events. There are the volunteers that help us to give gadget to the public library visitors, and person that enter to rent a book know the Click on T project and take the gadget, and also participate for 1 hour to switch off the light in this day. Okay, this is our local activities. After Sergio have planned 2 interviews to 2 experts. One is a professor in the University of Pisa, is a friend also of Sergio, and next week, or I don't know exactly, but next week or the
Before the end of the month.
yes, at the end of the month, of sure. He arranged, he has organized interview and a multimedia lesson. So we will have as a resource, because in the Click on T we collect didactical resource to promote the climate, to the topic of the climate change theme. So Sergio will interview this professor and make a special lesson to make a suggestion or inspiration for teachers and trainers working in this field. So it's not because I showed to you in the website. You can find it's Italian. In each language, we will find the download area. And this is the collection I told to you. So I don't know if we will create a special session or we put in one of these, but you will find before the end of the April a new multimedia resource about the professor of the University of Pisa. I think is Sergio, correct me, is teaching climate, is anthropologist about environment anthropologist. Is a new yes, is a new corso di laurea. Is a new training course of the University of Pisa. Is only 2 years exist. Is a special field, a special course. Okay. It's the first and the second because
the union.
Is the
Union
consumer. In Italian is Adiconsum.
Sì.
Yes. Oh. Another interview we are planned for to hand our dissemination report in this project. Is the Adiconsum president, is the president of the consumer station, yes, of Italy, and we will talk about who they are doing about the climate change and the environment, and about the didactical resource, what could be interesting to do for this project, for this field, okay? So I don't know, who like to talk about other country? I don't know, Silvia, Beata, Martina, or Spain, Ramon.
Yes.
Okay, Ramon. Okay. Yes. I don't know, because about your dissemination activities, because I don't know for the first if the dissemination report is updated, or you have to update and what we have to do in the last month, and what we have you have planned for till the end of the project. If someone like to show. Okay, Ramon. You need, because they have Google Drive, you talk about, oh, you have your presentation.
We have a presentation.
Good, the best. Uh, Yes, a lot of activities we have done also in Facebook and Instagram about the project. So I think you just follow us, so I not talk about this. But, yeah. Adi, we continue. Bravissimi. You understand bravissimi?
We try because we put a lot of new projects, but we have
Presentazione.
very private.
Ah, okay. I don't know if you need help because it's in Italian, but your language is too close for Italian and English, likely.
So, good morning to everyone. Yeah, I am Adrian, and they are my mates, Dani and Ramon Lamelli, and we represent Fonteboa here in Silicon Valley project. First of all, we have run this project, and each project is related to each other. So, and we, the objective is to create sustainable employment in rural areas and to respect the environment. The projects try to get the philosophy of the content. So, as Pastoria is one of the projects that promote good practices in pastoralism and promote and develop training methods for to people and students. Other project is DigiAgri. DigiAgri is trying to develop some tools for hands-on distant training in ecological horticulture.
Then we are working too on a project in this project Red Selmina, in which we try to get the incorporation of entrepreneurs. For this, we use Cliconti to get that people understand and will be conscious with climate change. And we try to collect a lot of successful experience in order to people can learn quickly about this process. And with all of this, we try to get a great database with rural resources, which we can use it in the future. And we work too with Terractiva in organic production. And in this project, we try to get a digital support tool for people can access to deployment with information to do it properly. And this way we can improve their capabilities and Cliconti let us explain properly some concepts that they should be understand properly. And for us, it's very important our program of vocational training because this is focused on rural areas. where nature and environment is very important. And this our pupils could enjoy about the Erasmus Plus program, and in this case they could become in dissemination actors to explain in other places the philosophy of Conti and the importance of climate change. With these projects, we are working with a lot of countries and with a lot of entities, and we improve our experience and transmit these concepts to the others association. And here is some disclosure tools that Ramon is working.
I was working, well, my part in the project is I work for the regional government in the Department of Agriculture, and I work very close with the organic farmers. So the past year, I prepared several courses in each organic production with the beekeepers, with the cow farmers, and the apple farmers and chestnuts. And then in each of these courses, I make a presentation of the project. The idea is that the organic farmers, they are focused on to communicate that they don't have residues. But in my opinion, there is not so important nowadays, and it's more important to show the consumers that their practice are good for the climate change. So that's the focus. And for me, it was very interesting because I learned a lot of what they are doing, and we talk of this issue, and they learn, and I learn too. And what we are preparing now is an intuitive tool to show them if they are doing good or bad. So it's not a scientific tool in the sense of to calculate the footprint, but in an intuitive way that they think that if they are doing good or bad. So the device that we are preparing, it's like an inquiry, and they are going to send to the organic producers, and in each question, they are received, after they give the answer, they are going to receive a small tip on climate change. And we're thinking in a system of
Traffic light.
the traffic light, and a system of traffic light, like if they in a particular area, like fertilizers or feed for the animals, they are the tool, they show the red light if they are not doing very well, or they show the red light if and that's what we are working now before the end of the project. And other thing that I'm going to continue after the end of the project, it's to use the social nets of CRAEGA, of our control authority on organic production, that to put each month a good example of good practice on climate change. Because I think, in my opinion, that they are social, they are focused on other stuff, like, for example, gastronomy with ecological products, or they don't, or the new products, and they are forgetting this stuff of climate change. And more or less is what we want to explain.
We're trying to do it quickly.
Okay, thank you. If you have some questions, we are here.
Thank you very much.
Silvia, do you have the presentation or just?
No, I have
just because we are late and NGOs, representatives from NGOs are waiting, so we have like 5 minutes for the other organizations.
Or
So,
we can move. We present,
or maybe we can just,
I think
we
it's
can do it now in the
I
page.
take my receiver.
So, okay, we'll change the picture. Got it? And it's not visible also. So we tried already before.
Okay.
Прошу тогда трошки пристачути програму.
Hello everyone. I am Daniela Rita. I'm an activist from Fridays for Future and Extinction Rebellion Lithuania groups. And today I will tell you a little about how climate activists communicate.
Because it's in the key.
And I want to start with a short introduction. What are Fridays for Future and Extinction Rebellion? Well, FFF of course stands for Fridays for Future and XR for Extinction Rebellion. So we are climate movements, and our main focus is climate crisis. And already by my first sentence, I use 2 key terms. And actually having key terms and use proper words is really important in communication. And I will start with explaining why we say we are a movement. Well, because we are not an organization, and actually movement as a phenomena happens when people, simple people, workers, mothers, parents, students, whatever, go out to the streets and shout out loud, we are facing a problem. And problem climate activists are shouting about is climate crisis. And this term is also really important because you probably know the term of climate change. But by using the term climate crisis, we want to show that we are aware of that climate change was happening for thousands of years before, and actually it is natural phenomena, and we couldn't be here now alive if there was no climate change. But the rate of climate change caused by human activity after industrial revolution is simply outraging, and we are already facing consequences, especially in the global south. And here you can see various events that already happened. Those events' goal was to make the curve go lower, but as far as you can see, all politicals, blah, 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 didn't work yet. And since we as activists have to communicate not only beyond the boundaries of our teams, but in our teams as well, I would like to present you some principles we use by leading our communication.
So firstly, we are decentralized, which means that local groups appear randomly and can work independently from our groups. The most important thing is that those groups work under the main principles of the movement. For example, in Extinction Rebellion case, we are not violent, so you cannot do anything under the flag of Extinction Rebellion if you are using violence. Another point is plain structure, which means that we treat everyone in our meetings as equal. It doesn't matter you are parent of 5 children, a PhD student, or a student who didn't graduate school yet. We give space to speak for everyone and listen for everyone. And by saying parent of 5 children, we actually, I want to mention that we actually in Extinction Rebellion team have parent of 5 children. And also we use direct democracy while making our decisions, which means that we are usually voting if we need to come up with some united decisions in our local teams. And we also try to create safe space for movement members in our meetings, which means we are free from homophobia, sexism, racism, and other ideologies that violate human rights. And now I will present our ways of communication beyond the boundaries of teams. And first of all, I want to present you our symbols. Fridays for Future symbol is an orphanage, which symbolizes that we care about this globe we are living on, and we want to say that life on it is nature. And Extinction Rebellion sign is empty sand clock, which means we simply don't have any more time to waste. Another way of communication, especially by Fridays for Future Lithuania, was organizing open lectures. We invited professors of climatology, of social sciences to present the public what is climate change, what is climate crisis, and what are the problems. And also we organized one conference about what are the effects of climate change to the living nature of Lithuania. We also used to write letters with the demands, and then those letters explain why we need those demands to be implemented. But so far, the strategy used by Fridays for Future didn't work very well. We didn't reach any super meaningful change yet by using this method. So probably we will be looking for some more productive ways, since we don't really have much time left to solve climate crisis. A few years actually. And another important detail is demands, and we are working really hard on it, like how to formulate what we actually want and what we should want. And this is demand from the last protest of Extinction Rebellion that happened several days ago. And it was peace, not oil. We don't need any fossil fuel from Russia or anywhere else. Develop renewable energy. And we chose this formulation because use of fossil fuels is the main thing that the main factor that empowers climate change to happen, climate crisis to happen actually. One really important detail of being an activist is going out to the streets with posters. We make up decisions what we want to say, and we simply write it, draw it on sheets of copy paper. or on banners. We also use shoutings like, what do you want climate justice? When do you want it now? Or our forms of short sentences that sound good and stick to people quite easily. Also, we invite rhythms of resistance to play drums so that we could attract more attention to what is happening. And we also give speeches during our events. And to give you more examples, activists organize various acts of art and performances. In the upper right from my side, you see a graffiti we draw one day before Black Friday and wrote Black Friday Better Future. Here you can see, actually those two pictures are related to one another. We organized an artistic petition in the same strike I already mentioned of Extinction Rebellion. We wrote the demand you already saw on that petition and asked people to sign it, and our hands looked like this after signing it. And by using colors black and red, we wanted to send also a message that oil is, I have to remind me the word, smeared with blood. And here you can see act of the Red Brigade is form of Extinction Rebellion activism. It's actually being in a protest without saying any word, and those red clothes symbolizes the blood of all living creatures. And here you can see dying. It is form of performance when people lie down on the street randomly and pretend to be dead. And since I was asked to tell you whether we communicate differently with people who are 30 and more and younger ones, actually probably not really, because I should say at this point that, for example, Extinction Rebellion was founded as a movement by people who are already around 50 years old. And when I see protests in other countries, I see there are people who are definitely more than 40 or even more. And since we treat everyone as equal, I couldn't say any big differences. Probably if I talked as an activist, an elder person, if I talked differently with a 15 years old person and 40 years old person, I would do it unconsciously, simply use less slangs or be more polite, but it just social norm which everyone is following probably. But what the most important message is that you are weighted in activism despite your age, and we welcome everyone. And do you have any questions? If not, then I can give the scene for Luna. Yes.
How many extinction rebellions are there?
In Lithuania, we have one group that is spread in several cities of Lithuania. We are all united as Extinction Rebellion Lithuania, since we usually organize our actions with Zoom meetings, so it doesn't cause a problem. And if we want to make an action in one specific place, we just call people like, hey, let's go to Klaipėda, hey, let's go, every one of us to Kaunas. And
But you can cooperate actions with each other.
Yeah, we are cooperating because we are not yet so many people that there would be any point to not cooperate at all. Yes?
Do you have any connections with schools, with universities? Are you trying to spread your message there, or you just want to create a different space with different rules and you avoid
We don't avoid schools and universities, and actually here I want to say some examples which I didn't mention in my presentation. Fridays for Future team was already in some schools presenting their activity, and from the context of the Snitch Rebellion, for mobilizing people, we have a form of communication strategy heading for extinction speeches, and already one of our members gave one speech in one school, and we also have invitation to give heading for extinction speech in the Vilnius Gediminas Technical University, and we will be organizing more of acts of giving that heading for extinction speech and then mobilizing more people into wider actions. Yes?
As far as I understood, the pictures you have shown us were taken in Vilnius. And I want to ask, how is the situation in smaller cities, like outside the big three of Vilnius, Klaipėda, and Kaunas?
Very sad, I will be honest, because it's really hard to reach all people, especially in Lithuania. We are trying to do that, but usually in smaller cities, we have, for example, only one person from that city who is already aware of climate crisis so much that he or she really would like to give the time to this activity. For example, we have a girl, amazing girl who is from Shekate city. It's really small and it's close to Kaunas, so she is a part of Fridays for Future Kaunas community and works in collaboration with them.
What are plans for future? I mean, Fridays for Future group.
For Fridays for Future group, the most important plan is that on March 25th, there will be a global strike, and we are also participating in it, and we will have an event. Yeah, so in 2 weeks, I can actually quickly, there is internet, show you the event. Because it's pretty important detail. Aha. If I am allowed to turn on my Facebook, I could show you the event.
To reikės patoliau.
Gerai.
Tiesiog visą langą.
Gerai. Okay, so here is our next event. It will take place on March 25. We will start at Pacific Square and march to, sorry, we will start at Rotushka Square and march to Pacific Square. The theme is fossil fuels on force. And of course, we react to the situation of Ukraine, and whoever who could come, we will be waiting for you. So we are meeting before 4 p.m. at Rotushka Square.
And I have the question: what advises how to make the organization sustainable, that the people will not leave, Friday for the Future, or how you are just keeping those people together.
In the movement.
Yeah.
So it's a question we are asking ourselves, because we are facing this problem that people leave randomly or with some sort of excuses, whatever. And we are thinking of many ways how to solve this. And one of the way is coordination and being organized, and also taking care of mental health of members, and create bonds like friendships and etc., so that people would feel sort of responsible for each other and inspire each other. And we are still actually working by ourselves on how to make the movement alive, but we have people who are already in the movement for several years and don't stop. So maybe we just need enough people who are truly dedicated, and maybe climate activism, unfortunately, not really for everyone, but we try to make everyone as comfortable as possible in the movement. Yes?
Do you have a contact with extension representatives from other countries, or cooperate with each other and create some actions with these countries?
I can answer you this question by saying that one of the co-founders of Extinction Rebellion Lithuania was before living in Great Britain and was a part of Extinction Rebellion of UK. So we are empowered by the knowledge of her, which she took from that team. And also, as far as I know, we are planning to have some trainings from the local team of Poland of how to do some specific actions. And also one of our members, the same who was living in Great Britain before, now is living in Italy and knows the local activism there. So I couldn't say that at this moment we are communicating constantly, but there are future plans to communicate more.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and sharing. Thank you.
Hello all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So I am a chair of Environmental Coalition. It's an umbrella organization of environmental NGOs. Our mission is, of course, to unite NGOs for environment activities, and main tasks are advocacy. So we want to be everywhere where lobbyists are, just to say environmental position. I would think last year we started public monitoring of state of environment. So when the Taurus invited me, I was preparing to talk about state of environment, but he asked me to talk about very interesting process here in Lithuania about the national agreement for forests. So I had a quick switch and non-fancy presentations, but I think it's worth talking about such processes, because all-inclusive processes, I think it's a future if we want to have really good agreements and some change. So let's switch to the forest agreement, not this one. So here is official side of this agreement. Why we needed it? So 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe already 4, here in Lithuania we had a lot of protests because of logging increased, and of course civil society felt that something is going wrong. So we had a lot of protests, and this problem that something wrong with forest management was heard by politicians. So what politicians did? They said, we will start the agreement process where all stakeholders meet and agree. So last March, 1 year ago, we started this process. And here is for the Google translated what is the goal. And they say that it's first systematic, constructive dialogue based and so on process to agree for our future forests. And we have a goal to end it, finish it, I think last year, August. So this was the first deadline. And during this process, all legislative initiatives are stopped. We cannot, we don't have any changes to forest law, to some rules, everything is stopped. But one thing is not. Actually, during this process, we still having territorial planning documents with all old rules. And at this moment, we already have a big, I would say not dialogue, actually it's already a fight just to stop one plan where, again, logging is planned to increase, and forests which are aimed for biodiversity actually decreased. So we are fighting to stop it because also because of this forest of this agreement, we cannot change laws, but we're still going through other processes. Okay, so last March we started. And to understand the process, I will give you an overview how the process was initially was organized. I have some summary, and I will show you. But maybe before going to the process, let's talk about the goal. And I think the goal is a very, very important thing. Again, this is translated from Lithuanian, of course, and this is official goal. So official goal is to develop a national document. Why I'm saying and why I put it in bold? Because now we feel that it's not about changes, it's about creating a document. So this is one thing. Other thing is when you read what we're trying to achieve. We want to answer questions about management in protected areas and other forests while ensuring the supply of raw materials to the timber sector. Actually, it means that we want to agree, to make some kind of agreement. We don't have a goal to create, let's say, agreement how to implement Green Deal, how to do a change. We just need to agree. So this is, I want to emphasize because as I know, a lot of similar agreements have a goal, for example, how to reach a goal of climate neutrality. You have a goal, some goal not agree, but some goal what we're trying to achieve as a state. Here we don't have. So main thing here is to create a document with some kind of agreement between different stakeholders. So how we're trying to achieve this agreement? So this is a process. I will take you through how it was modeled at the beginning. So last March, we created a coordination group. Coordination group initially was thought to be like it's named for coordination, to ensure that different stakeholders are in the process, to ensure that documents finally are here. So different kind of coordination. And at the beginning, they said we want, of course, to be this group to be balanced. So we had ecological, social, and economy groups within it. And the fourth group is politicians. So we had a month to create this group. And I have my assessment of how we succeeded to balance. Here you have a table without names, but as I had names, I could just say the interest. So we see that economic group is either from some business or from forestry with goal to keep as is. I say keep as is, which means they are fine and want to have the forestry as it is without any big change. For ecological interest, we can see that, yes, we have ecological, some people as this for forestry, and one forgot to change in English from maybe economic. I don't know. It's tough. Most interesting group is social. So here is, we have 3 representatives really from social group. It's from social. Some trying to keep on this and some for economic. And here if we talk about, I emphasized to talk about climate change. And we have one interesting representative under this economic. It's actually one of the most active timber industry lobbyists. So he said that as he represents big furniture factories, so he is representing actually employees. That's why he is representing social group. Later we will talk. He was the main man to initiate climate change sectorial group. So why I show you this? So I think it's not something Lithuanian. I think it's everywhere, and we know that it's everywhere. We are having this fight between to be and SS. And almost everywhere we have similar table, and we know that lobbyists lobbying for this are more active in Brussels. We have more of them. The same is here. So this is nothing different. So let's go to the process. Okay, so let's go to the process. We have this coordination group. And main thing is to have not this coordination, but to have stakeholders, to have this co-creation. And co-creation was supposed to be in 4 phases. Actually, it is in 4 phases. Preparation, where 150, I think, people met and had co-creation discussions about directions, problem areas, etc. It was really a good event. It's just a pity that we are going through this process during Corona crisis, where we could not have face-to-face meetings. We had them online, and this is not good for discussions among parties which have different opinions. Next phase is, I would say, it's a very important phase, is we call it sectorial groups. So what is sectorial group? And I think this is the best thing from this process. Sectorial groups are stakeholder groups of similar views and similar interests. And these groups had to create their visions for forests. The idea is to create, let's call it radical vision from what you want, and then to, in the forest, in the forum, to merge all these visions into one vision from all stakeholders. So we had 17 sectorial groups. We had 17 sectorial groups. You can see all of them, and every single group created their vision. And here what I want, why I have climate change and alternative climate change group here. So what happened? Coordination group, this I told you, actually somehow was the most important. It's not about coordination, it became to create the content of the people. And we had a long discussion, a long fight to start these sectorial discussions. And when we came to the sectorial groups and started to initiate, what happened? So initiative to create this climate change group took this lobbyist I told you before. And what he did, actually, he left outside all activists. And Gabriel is one of those activists from Fridays for Future. So they was said, you are not in our group. Our group is more about business, and we invite scientists. Finally, scientists I know left this group because that is very what to say, very pro business. So what civil society did? They created alternative climate change group. Unfortunately, this coordination group didn't allow it to enter this group list, and they had to work from, let's say, to have a rebellion and to work from outside. And thanks to them, they created this, let's say, environmental climate change vision. So now we have two climate change visions: how business wants and how civil society. And I would say it's very interesting because we can see the difference. And the difference is that while business says that CO2 should be sequestrated in wood products, mostly, of course, they say more, but this is their goal. And of course, I don't know in English, not natural forests, but manageable forests are better for sequestration. While this group said that nature should be protected and natural forests are the best for sequestration. So we had two groups with these two visions. Of course, I just, there are much more in these visions, but I just wanted to emphasize this main difference. But in any case, this group had to work from outside. And this is a pity, and this was the first sign that something wrong with this project, because a stakeholder group is not allowed to be in the process. Okay, so we had sectorial groups, and let's go back to the process. So here, every group created vision, which is very good, and there had to be there was a vision forum, and it ended with not combined vision, but with, I don't know, 9 combined divisions, rated 9 visions. And our Ministry of Environment did their work, created one vision, and it of course had some issues. Of course, it had to be for our review, but some groups had right to give their comments, others don't. Oh, I think it's my phone. So what happened here? And then we understood that some of these groups are represented in this coordination group, and others are not. Others are not, and the vision was that this is final vision, but we had, I think, 3 critical comments and a number of non-critical comments. All these were rejected, saying that this vision is final. So, I would like to give you some insights. I think it might be interesting. What we did, where is my tutorial group? Actually, we did some analysis about visions and who have representation and who doesn't have representation in coordination groups. This table is of again our assessment. What we did, we took vision of group I was initiating, this one. We took main statements from the group and compared it with visions of other groups. And this is number of how many statements were compatible, and this is how many statements were incompatible. What is compatible and incompatible is, let's say, if we say nature is the best for sequestration, and as others say wooden products are the best, it's incompatible. So what we have? So this is Lithuanian, but with colors. Actually, these are groups which didn't have representation in coordination group, and this one. 6 groups without a proper representation. This has, and all these have. And comments from these groups were rejected. So what we had to do, actually, this is a point where we said, if it is so, we should leave. Because it means that these groups, and we had very, very clear polarization. Now we have two names even for these, it's not 17, it's 2 groups. It's wood and non, and we call them medienininkai and nemedienininkai. And so these non-wood groups, ecology is kind of in the middle. They don't with us because they have a presentation, but actually with their ideas, they are more like us. So they are a bit different. Similar and different. So what I want to emphasize with that most incompatible with our vision is taking active forest management, climate change, and wood industry. And however, these 4 actually are the most opposite to what we say. So, interesting this one. Alternative climate group is here. And I want to show you one more analysis about participants. So we did some estimation about, it was just interesting to see. So how many women and men are in these groups. So we can see that actually these about environment, about protections have more women. And those with key positions have more men. And again, we have the same thing about representation. Those with more women didn't have representation and coordination, proper representation and coordination. With more men, they have. So this is, I would say, interesting insights based on data. And actually, these data are not shown to anyone, just in our group. So you are the first to see outside our internal circle. Good. So back to the protest. So we decided here to leave because national vision for forests is, let's say, is not to present everything. We had Minister of Environment wanted to go forward with what it is, but actually it's a politicians, and let's go back to sectorial groups. Here are politicians. So politicians are more, in this case, are more environment friendly. So they said, no, every group should be involved. I mean, members of parliament. So that's why now we have team space. Actually, we missed it because we were kind of off suspension. We were out. And here we had discussions with Minister of Environment, what are the terms for us to return to the process. And we agreed on some conditions how to ensure that this group does not have, how to say, power to change text. Actually, how to ensure that vision is, agreement is of all stakeholders, not of this group coordination group. So now we are having working agreement group. What is agreement group? So it's again 9 groups of 9 topics where representatives of sectorial groups come together and make agreement. So now we are in this phase. And yesterday I had a meeting about to talk about economy. Most likely we won't reach an agreement. Most likely. but I'm not sure. Other groups reach some of these. I don't know. I don't know what how this agreement will be met by politicians, because it's not a game changer. Actually, I would say it's agreement won't be a game changer, because it's not about agreeing on how to change, but if to change. And as a conclusion, I would say what I would like to have some positive things. What was very good in this process? I say the process is a failure, but now we have representatives for these groups. Before this process, there was no representation of these groups, especially social groups like communities. Now we have representatives, and these representatives will be able to do advocacy, the future advocacy. Next, good outcome, we know each other. I didn't know representatives of these groups, but now we know each other. We have meetings, so we kind of community. So even if the document won't be good, actually we have community to communicate and to be stronger in future advocacy and action. So this is about the process, and I think it fits in your topic about communication about environment, and maybe you have some more questions.
I have 1,000 questions, but I try to. So I'm really amazed because this is what really public policy matters. And in our opinion, it's nice to try to educate people, but what you say in English, the ball is in hand of politicians. So my first question is, how did you feel at personal level? Because it was a very, very hard work, and you basically, the alternative climate change group was eliminated. And how did you feel? I mean, from a scale from 1 to 10, what is your level of satisfaction?
Let's say I'm not in this group. Gabi is in this group. I am in this group. But in any case, my satisfaction in this process, from 0 to 10, I would say 3. It's I would say it's they don't respect our time. They don't respect our opinion. I calculated how many hours I spent in here, because here was the main fight to ensure that these sectorial groups will start work. So every 2 weeks, I had a 3-hour meeting with all this coordination group. I would say it was tough meetings, and we fight to start the sectorial groups. So it was a hard process, and maybe as hard as it had been, as it should be in our lobbying environment. So it's 2 or 3.
So I suppose you are rather not available to start another process like this.
I think, I hope ministry will learn lessons from this process, and they already started a new process of this from this co-creation, which is called Mission Zero, and they took a very different approach. And I think they actually also understand that this is not good.
But you have some results, so your work, I think, is not completely in vain.
Of course, we have a community.
And could you share with us this template, because I really, really like it. As a process, I think, in my opinion, it's like the things should should be like this in a consultative process and gather all the actors on the same table. I think we need to work at the communication and accept other opinions, but as a process, I think it's very, very good.
I agree. Process ideas is very good. I would say implementation is bad. Facilitation, and a big issue is that we have to work online. Initial, it was based on Future Search. Future Search is about meeting for 3 days. All stakeholders meet for 3 days in one site, and they make agreements. Actually, these 3 days became a number of 2 or 3 hours online, and of course, it changes all dynamics of how we communicate. So I would say, if these processes, Future Search, original idea of meeting 3 days, made agreement or not, and you are free to go, not a year of meetings.
Do you have this is my last question. Do you have a strategy in approaching, and this is also for Gabi, the question, in approaching politicians, and particularly politicians from different parties, from left and right?
It's not a strategy. I would say it's more tact, because after the process is ended, we will start to. I would say we have community, and now we must start real work about changing laws. And of course, this is we will start normal advocacy, but together with all these people we know already. So yes, we will do a normal advocacy.
I need your
I got a very short question, maybe not about the process, but about the basic. How much of the Lithuanian territory is covered by the forest?
At this moment, 34.
Okay, and how does it look like in comparison with European average?
Average for what?
For all European countries, I mean. Is it a big number or small?
Average number, of course, dozen states have more forests. Let's say all this Western Europe less. So I would say we are average.
Okay.
It depends how you calculate. If you calculate forest land, so we have about 30%. But if you calculate just real coverage of forest from satellite images, so it would be less, like 30%, about 28%.
And also, it's very important to say that also we should take into account how many forests are for ecological purposes and how many for food production. So we have, and social purposes. For social and ecological purposes, we have 10 for nature, 2 for people, and others for food.
So the forests in Lithuania are owned by the state, or there are
50-50.
Oh.
Private owners and state.
State 50, let's say 50 plus, minus, but 50-50.
With the new policies of the European Commission, with the strategy of forest, do you think that the industry tried to open your mind and change with a vision of the future, or want to manage tradition in a traditional way?
Industry wants to have this and more intense, and they are clear about it. And they say that your green deals, we don't care about green deals. When we say that, actually, my main source of information at this moment is European forestry strategy. There are plus minuses, but actually it is about change and created by a lot of people with some directions for change. So we are not about this change. So we are fighting us to have more intensive and going this green direction. I don't know where we mean. We will meet in this agreement.
Because if there was no your support, there would probably be no alternative climate change without the third one. And also you are working in probably one of the most tricky teamwork groups. We might in the climate team group already reached the agreement, but it was hard for us to make agreement with workers of forestry or industry. I understand you're super hard. That's why you
I work, if you talk about these agreement groups, I represent my group in a group called Economical, where we try to agree about future economy. Okay.
I have the question because there is a lot of lobbying on one side, but now then how you are communicating outside your bubble in order to make a pressure from the society on something. And do you have a method which works the most or some advice?
Oh, it's a very good question, and a good question because we were struggling a lot to communicate about this process. Because nobody cares about sectorial groups did something, coordination, nobody cares. Because when you say that this forest will belong, everybody understands and you can make a communication about it. But when you have this clumsy process, it's very difficult to communicate. So we had two journalists who were interested, and we had 3 or 4 not press releases, but radio shows about this agreement. But actually, such kind of process is difficult. It's very difficult. And that's why when I said that we had this plan created, and of course it's for good for communication, because we said in this area logging will be increased and nature protection decreased. Everybody understands, and you can do communication. So I don't have any advice on how to do. I would like to have advice.
So I'm from Romania, and I represent an NGO who is active in the environmental field for the last 15 years. And I followed in Romania processes similar to the one you've been talking us about. And I witnessed how many of my friends spent whole summers discussing with the representatives from various sectors and agreeing on policies. And all the results, I must say, was failure, failure, failure. So I'm not saying now that it's worthless to create such groups, but without proper communication with the public. For example, the public should have known that the climate change sectorial group was hijacked, basically. It was hijacked by people of the industry and lobbyists. And this should have been a main issue in the press. And then the activists should come on the streets and protest and everything. So without proper communication with the public, you will lose precious time. And I must say that people like those you are trying to win the heart and collaborate with, they have a clear purpose to have you waste your time in discussions like this. So it's happening everywhere. Not here, not in Romania, not in Lithuania, not in Poland. So we are very few, those who want change, and they know this, and they keep us busy in such groups. And there are even sayings in our country that when you want to achieve nothing, then create a group.
I really share your insights. And one of the reasons why we decided to leave, to get public attention. So when we said we are leaving, we had a press conference. So this is to have some point where you collect all these things and you just go out. Because the process is long and nobody, no pressure, no civil society can keep attention for so long.
So it's like this.
I really share, and I think this is something we should start talking about NGOs, not to be involved on so much.
I watched, NGOs, big NGOs. We work with WWF, with Greenpeace, with, and Greenpeace never does this. They never lose time with these things. But WWF, they are involved in Nature 2000 projects, and they need state money to co-fund their projects, so they have to somehow participate in this. Nevertheless, they never achieve anything. And even if they manage to achieve something and the strategy is done, that strategy counts for nothing. The next government that comes just steps on it. So we have strategies because Brussels asked us for strategies, and we have to provide them in time, and we have to show that the process was done in a certain way and all the parties were consulted. But in the end, even if you had that agreement, I must tell you it was useless, because the next party with wishing to represent the lobbyists yes, would step on your hard work, and you will achieve almost anything. So in my opinion, public is very important, and change the public can change politicians, can change government parties, and the public is the key to changing this. And the more you inform the public, and the more you touch the hearts of journalists and so on, the better for.
Yes, I really share, and I agree with everything. Just one thing, good outcome from this process is public have their groups. So this is the best, as I said, the best outcome, not the result as a document, but that we have more organized society, civil society. So actually, it's the same direction as you said. Public
it's good that you left. It's good that you left, because
we haven't left. We are still in this process. We cannot leave. We feel like trapped in this process. We cannot leave, and you cannot, but you don't want to go forward because we see that you're creating useless results.
And I will give you just one more example. So I was invited in a group created by the Romanian presidency, by President Iohannis, our president. He wants to make a statement as a climate change education, especially environmental education, and especially climate change education pioneer. He wants to present himself as so I was invited in that group, and I was there for a few months. The same process with online meetings every week or every 2 weeks, and so on. And in the end, the process was hijacked by some people who had their own vision, and it wasn't a democratic process anymore. And I left. Nevertheless, recently the report on climate change education guidelines and was published, and strategy was published, and I am an author. Nevertheless, so sometimes they need you just to be there and to put your name there, because you validate through your work and through your name a certain process. That's it.
Thank you, Lina, for your presentation. I was following this process from some certain distance, of course, and I saw all this huge work which was done by environmental organizations protecting environmental ideas. It's really big job was done, and it also it's a lot of applause goes to you, especially because it was also your job was done very well. Even if you are right saying that the result would be not as we expected, even knowing this, we should know that it will never stop. So year by year, we have to protect our ideas. And even then the government changes, we again have to start it because it's endless process. So we should live with that. So my question would be, because I think it's really very important to have this process in Lithuania, because first time then the society together with the politicians, together with other interest groups, together trying to discuss it to find the common approach of forest management. So it's important. But in order to have better results, I think it's important to look at the process and to find what in which extent the process itself should be changed in order to have better results and proper fixed results after they reach. What would be your recommendations for the process? How it should be organized differently, or perhaps interest groups should be balanced differently, like it was now, or what would your suggestions and comments be?
First thing is about goal. Goal cannot be, you need to agree and to create a document. We should know what we are agreeing about. And this is, I think it's politicians or Ministry of Environment, whatever, actually it's politicians should say the direction. Of course, consulting with scientists, because civil society cannot answer the direction. Civil society can agree on measures how to implement this direction. Because here we are trying to agree about the direction. I think this is something we should not do. Other thing is, as I said, no online meeting. Because it's waste of time. 2 days, 3 days, you go, you prepare, go discuss, you are free. Because this long-lasting process is very, very exhausting. Yes, very exhausting. Other thing is we didn't have proper background. And for those processes, not civil society should collect data, and they collected data, but it's not enough. To start this process, actually, some good work from first science, from different analytical groups should be done to provide data, and data should be background for agreement, not just I think so, that's about nothing. So data, good background, good analytical data, respect of time in terms of you have one meeting, that's it. Because we are not employees of ministry. We are just advisors and interested and proper goals. So these three things.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
That for like this, all participants probably even must have a sort of introduction so that every person who is participating in decision making has the same context, same knowledge. Because, for example, in our team, we are wasting time by proving that all growth forests are productive and sequester of carbon, and because two different opinions came and we had to prove that the science
there was before for the preparation that every member of the meeting had same context of what I already ate about it, it would be easier and separate facts from opinion.
Thank you very much. Now we have 45 minutes to the tour here in this building. So Carla, now it's time for interviews and also for our meeting and for the coffee. Please go to the table to take the cup, prepare the tea or the coffee. And you can invite somebody who is needed to make a meeting.
Yes, the best is make the interview in a separate room because the rumors are.
Yeah, but outside.
Okay, outside.
Ok, allora senza che ti muovi, Sergio, capito? Sì. Perché qui se no siccome c'è il coffee break, ora lo fai anche te, non è che. Però andiamo a sistemarci. Tanto sono andati tutti di là, sia lì del coffee break. Questo, vabbè, questo comunque, questo è finito.